Hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Today, we are going to talk about the case of Sade Robinson. Now, this is a current case out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's not for the faint of heart. Um, Alongside of it, there's this ongoing revelation from men where they're discovering from the internet, from our sharing of videos, that women would rather be trapped in the forest with a bear than a man. Now, Sade's story and those like her, yeah, that's the reason why, okay? And if you don't understand it, by the time we get to the end of this video, you sure will. So let's get into it.
But to judge what is necessary to be told, it is necessary to see and hear all that is to be seen and heard.
Sade Robinson was driven. Now, whether it was in her DNA or just because of the people around her or just whatever drive she had inside of her, she was setting up her life to be very successful and to do a lot of good. Sade was born on May 10th of 2004 to Sheena Scarborough and Carlos Robinson. Now, they didn't end up staying together and raising their children together. Really, they ended up splitting up, but doing their best to co-parent. And through the years, Carlos was in Florida by the time all of this happened, and Sheena had taken Sade and her younger sister, and they lived in Milwaukee. She was a great mom. I mean, she really did an excellent job in helping Sade realize like everything that she had at her fingertips, and I mean, it sounds like I'm really glazing her up, but listen, Sade's accomplishments were incredibly impressive. Okay. At the age of 19, she had her own apartment. She was working two jobs and she was also going to college. I mean, Sade should have graduated with an associate degree in criminal justice in May of 2024. So, I mean, everything happened like a month and a half before she would have had that degree and been moving on to, you know, probably getting a master's degree at some point and really using her degrees to put out good in the world and make her life successful. And it sucks that another good person again falls victim to what Sade went through. I really just can't get over how impressed I am with Sade's accomplishments. Sade was close with her family. She had a Life 360 app where, she shared her location with her mother and other family members. She had a few friends that she would share her location with. I mean, Sade had it all, drive, personality. She, was friendly and she was able to have healthy relationships with her family and her friends and improve herself through it all. She was headed to great things. Like any parent, when their child, you know, flees the nest, they fly out of the nest and they go on to make their life. There's worries there when you have to let go of your child and let them go and be their own adult. And Sheena was no different. She was concerned. I mean, she knew that Sade was dating and everything, but she definitely tried her best to make sure that Sade was aware to look out for the red flags and make sure that Sade knew that the world is not that nice out there sometimes. The last day that Sheena had seen Sade in person was March 31st, Easter Sunday. So they all got together, they had a nice dinner together, and what did they do the next day? They went off about their business. Sade had FaceTimed her mother, Sheena. She had FaceTimed her while she was getting ready in the morning. She had work planned, and that was really that. That was the last time that Sheena was able to talk to Sade. Sade had very busy plans for April 1st, and She had work, but really what she was actually looking forward to the most was the date that she had. And Sade had a date on April 1st with Maxwell Anderson. Various people that knew Maxwell before this whole thing happened, they talked about like his vibes were off, okay? There was something weird with him and couldn't quite place their finger on it. Maxwell had anger issues, which I'm sure is another part of really what made people uncomfortable around him. But, whatever, there was something appealing about him that made Sade agree to go on a date with him. I do have to mention that Maxwell's father, Steven Anderson, he was a millionaire, by the way. So, like, the spoiled shit, quick to anger, acting like a little brat thing, I mean, kind of in character. Just saying. Now, Maxwell and his family had lived on the south side of Milwaukee, and Maxwell attended a Catholic high school in the early 2000s. He was a football star and, doesn't seem like he did much after that. Maxwell did not have a clean criminal history, okay? He started getting the charges in 2014 when he was at a relative's house and he just kind of like lost it. They weren't sure really what it was, whether it was like a mental breakdown or drugs or alcohol, but whatever it was, like he fucking lost it, man. He started destroying the house and he locked himself into a bathroom, started trying to call his dad. I don't know. Daddy, help me. You have millions of dollars. I don't know. I don't know how the call went, but whatever. That was part of what was in the report. Now, after the deputy gets there, you think that he would like calm down a little bit, but he doesn't. He gets like extra, okay? And then he takes a car and he drives it into the relative's patio and, causes whatever damage is from that. Not only that, but he also like damaged himself in the process, like breaking ribs and bruises and all of that. Uh the punishment though. Ugh. With all that chaos, he just got charged with 2 misdemeanors of disorderly conduct and he ended up needing to pay a fine of $416. I don't know how that works out, but I don't know. Maybe the relative took it easy on him. Whatever. Who knows? Well, I mean, they know, but, that's what we have. June of 2015 is Maxwell's next charge. So again, he's staying with a different relative now in Egg Harbor and, you know, whatever's happening there, the relative starts suggesting to him like, "Hey, maybe you need a little bit of mental health help. Have you thought about seeking out some extra help, some professional help?" And I mean, again, this sets Maxwell off. Like he just has this fucking little hair trigger and he starts destroying things. He destroys the cell phones so that the relative couldn't actually call the police. They had to go next door to the neighbor's house to be able to get a phone so that they could call the police. And I mean, he's just out of control. Maxwell gets charged with 4 misdemeanors here, and in this one, he actually picks up his first domestic abuse charge. And what does Maxwell get for everything that he's done with his record? He gets a year of probation. That's it. I mean, there's no order for mental health treatment. I mean, a year of probation, and then he also had a fine and restitution, but come on. What is going on there? Why are we not doing more? But whatever. Lady Justice had her say, and that was all that he got. Now we're going to move on to the 2019 battery. Now, this one was caught on camera, and this was not a relative this time. Maxwell was outside and he was having, I don't know, like a heated conversation with a woman. I don't know exactly what it was about. I didn't see the video. It's not like the video went viral or anything, but there was video recording that they were able to bring into court. So as Maxwell is having whatever words with the woman that he was talking to, a man comes up and tries to stop the argument. It was looking real tense, it was one of those uncomfortable situations where you got to walk over and be like, "Whoa, is everything okay here? Now, this dude was 57, okay? And at the time, Maxwell was 28. I mean, we're talking about 2019 here. And Maxwell turns whatever anger he had going on to this woman, turns it on this man, and literally just starts beating the shit out of them. Like, from what I understand, this video showed Maxwell right on top of this dude, just knocking the shit out of him right there in public for no reason other than that man was trying to make sure that everybody was okay in that really tense situation between Maxwell and whatever woman he was talking to. So here's the real fucked up part. Maxwell gets charged with battery and disorderly conduct from this. Tell me why the battery was dropped. That sucks. Plea agreement. That's what keeps happening. I mean, that's part of it, you know. He is pleading guilty to these charges so that, you know, they can minimize it and make it go away, I'm sure. Listen, I don't have any proof that daddy's money helped him out at all, but common sense says daddy's money helped him out, okay? So the battery charges dropped. He pleads guilty to the disorderly conduct and he has to pay restitution, $7,000 to the man that he injured and, you know, medical bills and whatever. There was some community service that Maxwell had to do also, but, you know, why wasn't he locked up? Why is this violent ass dude just getting away with it? It feels like he's getting away with it, right? I mean, some kind of intervention should have happened, whether it had been time in jail, time in a mental facility, something should have happened here. The warning signs were there, and he had a criminal background. Maxwell's January 2022 charge for drunk driving was, I mean, he was driving home from work and he had an open container and his blood alcohol level was 0.145. Okay. Why are you drinking at work? Because it really sounds like he was drinking at work. And I mean, later on down the line, that's what people talk about. They talk about how he would drink at work. And, you know, it's just, who does that? So again, Maxwell gets off easy. His probation ends in 2023. And I mean, he just goes on living life. Now, at this time, his dad had been in Florida and he's still living in Milwaukee. You know, he's like bouncing around, working at different bars, and, you know, he's got a house. And I mean, the pictures of the house make it look like it was really nicely manicured. And, you know, there's some renovations going on in there from what we hear. All right, now we're going to go back to April 1st, 2024. You know, just, I mean, this is really recent, like I said. Sade was very excited for her date with Maxwell, okay? She had told a maintenance person in her apartment complex, like, how excited she was, like, oh, I'm going out with this guy. And, you know, there's text messages that they have out where they're talking about where they want to eat. And, you know, they end up going to the Twisted Fisherman. It's a place that Maxwell had actually worked at prior, and Sade wanted some seafood, so they go there. Maxwell says he has to get his W-2 anyways. They meet there, they have dinner, they move on, they go to Duke's on the Water, and there they have a couple drinks. I'm not 100% clear how this went because the legal drinking age is 21 and Sade was only 19. So I don't know if she just had like virgin margaritas or like what was going on there. And I haven't actually heard anybody talk about it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. While Sade is out with Maxwell, she ends up sending a Snapchat to a friend, and Sade and Maxwell, they leave Duke's around like 9 o'clock. I think 9:06 was the exact time that they had left the restaurant. Sade and Maxwell, they end up getting to his house. There's like a security camera that catches them walking from her car into his house around 9:30. Okay. And then it seems pretty quiet, you know, nothing's happening. Sade's phone doesn't leave Maxwell's house until 12:48 in the morning. Now, there's a lot that happens here, okay? Because basically, Sade's phone in her car and Maxwell. Let's be honest. It's probably Maxwell. I mean, he's the one that got arrested for it. All signs are pointing to him. Like, I mean, like, it just makes sense. But we're gonna just for the sake of, keeping everything clear, Sade's phone leaves the residence. Okay. Goes all over Milwaukee, time stamped at different points. You can follow, I mean, with her family and her friends having access to that Life 360 app, they were able to follow it around Milwaukee and see everywhere that they were going. And on top of that, there were some video cameras, like there's random video cameras everywhere, especially when you're going to places like where the beach is, which is one of the places that Sade's phone ended up going. At 1:33 a.m., the phone is caught going to Pleasant Valley Park. Now, this is by Lake Michigan, which is really like where all of this is happening. So it seems like, something odd's going there, right? At 2 a.m., the phone leaves Pleasant Valley Park and then it goes on to Warnmart Park, and it arrives there around 2:45, and around 3 a.m. there's a surveillance camera that catches a human figure going down the bluffs down to the beach. There's some time, about an hour and a half, and then the phone or car, they leave Warnmont Park and around 4:30 in the morning. So now we're into the real morning hours of April 2nd. Everybody's awake, the city's moving, and things are about to get crazy. Around 7:30 in the morning, there was a white man seen walking away from a car and throwing a lighter in and catching the whole car on fire, trying to destroy the car. There's a witness to this who sees him. They call it out. The fire department comes there, and the 2020 Honda Civic, the same exact car that Sade owned. I don't know if they were able to salvage as much of, I mean, I'm sure they tried to salvage as much of the car as they could, but, obviously there had to have been some damage. In the trunk of the car was the clothes that Sade had been wearing the day before and her cell phone broken. So, evidence right there, and I'm sure they have forensics on it. Hopefully they get something good out of it. Meanwhile, around 8:35 that morning, Maxwell is seen on a bus heading away from the direction that Sade's car was found burning to his home. And Maxwell gets home around 8:43, and that's the same day that the first piece of Sade is found. It's around 5:30 in the afternoon, and in Warnmart Park, somebody who was walking in the area found a human leg. The human leg belonged to a Black woman, and she had pink toenail polish on. It took about a week, and it was confirmed to be Sade Robinson. Now, they didn't know yet that they had a missing person on their hands at the time. It was like everybody was picking up the different pieces, but they hadn't gotten to the point where they were putting it all together yet at this point, because, we're talking the same day, April 2nd. Everything happened so quickly. When Sade's leg was found, she hadn't been reported missing yet. She wasn't reported missing until she did a no-call, no-show at work. And then a friend tried reaching out to her. She didn't respond. It really was not in Sade's character. It's around 9 p.m. that day, April 2nd, when Sade is finally reported missing by that friend that couldn't get a hold of her. The police start with going to Sade's apartment, and, they're looking around. That's where they find out from the maintenance men that she had been excited about a date with Maxwell Anderson. Now, remember how Sade Robinson had the Life 360 app connected with family and friends? Well, one of the friends came out and started talking about the bizarre movements the phone took before it went dark. Now, this paired with her car being found burnt up, I'm sure the family already they probably knew something bad was happening at that time. And April 4th is when Maxwell would be arrested. It was around 1:16 in the afternoon, and he had been driving. It was really close to his house, and in the back seat was that same exact sweater that he was seen on camera wearing on the bus when he was leaving the scene of Sade's car being lit on fire. The police got a warrant, they go through the house, and it's fucked up. Okay, there's no way around it. Listen, they describe blood on the walls in an upstairs bedroom leading all the way down into the basement. Okay, and I mean, fucking terrifying. And you would have never guessed it looking at pictures of this house from the outside. I mean, holy shit. The detectives also, like, there was some kind of leak where they were saying that he had a sex dungeon in his basement. There was a friend that came out that, like, confirmed it too. Yeah, I mean, like, whatever, do whatever, but like the blood and, you know, your date getting dismembered like that, come on, that's fucked up. This guy, not well in the head, definitely should have had more intervention, and there was definitely chances. To this point where I'm recording this, all of Sade Robinson has not been found yet. April 5th, they found a little bit more pieces of her. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's awful. You know, I kept going over in my mind like, how do you describe this? It's grotesque. It's fucked up. And this is happening. Like, it's happening in real life, and now her family has to deal with that for the rest of their lives. April 5th, they found some more parts of her near the car fire. April 6th, there's like a park area that the family had been searching. They thought they had found something, so they call the police out. The police find more pieces of Sade, and you know, it's released. I don't know, it's kind of weird because it's like the next day Sade's family goes back and they find more of her. I'm just wondering, like, what happened to taping off the crime scene? I mean, that feels like something that should have happened. I mean, I know it's like a big area, but the family went back to that same area. They gained access. I mean, we've seen cases out there where they've shut down whole forestry parks, like that case out of Florida. They shut everything down for days while they were looking. So it doesn't feel right. The most recent update about finding Sade was from Thursday, April 18th, and it was another hiker walking along the beach, and they ended up finding Sade's torso and her arm. These, of course, I mean, it takes at least a week, and here I am only a few days afterward filming. It's suspected that these body parts are Sade's, but it hasn't been formally confirmed. So, you know, they have to go through their DNA testing and everything to formally confirm it. Yeah, this was Sade. Maxwell Anderson finally ended up getting charged for murder. Yeah, he pled not guilty, so we're in for a long one here. Forensic testing came back on the blood in the house, and believe it or not, it doesn't belong to Sade. Whose blood is that? Okay, and here's the other thing. Like, there's a ton of missing people in Milwaukee. I have looked at a lot of true crime cases, like beyond the channel. Beyond that, I mean, I have been listening to true crime since I was really young. You know, the adults around me had it on. I don't think I've really ever heard of somebody who jumps from doing no murder for the first 33 years of their life, because Maxwell was 33 when all of this happened. I don't know anybody who jumps straight into doing a murder and dismemberment like that so quickly, too. It's like there's no time for him to, I don't know, no time for him to process what he just did. I guess what I'm getting at is I know right now everything's alleged because Maxwell hasn't formally been convicted or anything, but that's just, there's something more going on there. And I know a lot of the experts have come out too, and they've talked about it, how this is just really unusual. So my bet is on there are more skeletons in Maxwell's closet that need to be found, more justice that needs to be divvied out. And really, through all of this, I don't want Sade to get lost in it all, because it feels like her case is not being handled the best way? Why is their family left to find so much? Why do they have to go through that? You know? It doesn't feel right. And then the whole not blocking off the crime scene, that bothers me too. And really, you wonder how much of this could have been avoided if Maxwell had actually had some kind of consequence for his actions beyond the little bitch ass slap on the wrist that he's gotten. Law enforcement, the judicial system, they really let us down on that one. Can we bring back like mental health treatment for people too? I mean, his dad had enough money, so I don't know why that didn't happen. It's just weird. Long story short, my alleged opinion is that Maxwell is awful, abusive, a murderer, and just doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. I mean, he's got to be a sociopath, something like that. Who does all of what he did to Sade within less than a 12-hour period? I don't know. All right, so that's really where we're at on the case of Sade Robinson. I want justice for her. I want her name to be spread. I want everybody to be aware. And I want the family to not have to go through as much as they are going through right now. I hope that they can find all of Sade to bring more peace and really, like, let's get this guy off the streets for good. He does not belong around other people. All right. Keep your eye out for a foundation coming from Sade's family. They are looking to open up a foundation for her. It's like tentatively named Sade's Voice. It's going to be there to help the families of Black and brown women and girls that go missing, and that's so far what they have. There's nothing solid on it yet, but definitely keep your eyes open for it. I think it is an excellent idea. You know, the more people out there to help, the better. And word needs to get spread. And I really appreciate your support and hanging in there with me. I know I haven't been as regular about posting videos, but life, right? Life gets in the way, personal things, work, whatever. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you again next time. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you.